compared to you guys are really, I'm a
Okay.
shrimp.
Oh,
Is
we're
she on?
live.
Mhm.
We're live.
Oh, you're live. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our guest today. Oh my goodness, you're not even in the picture.
No, it's okay.
It's not okay. There you go. Oh, our guest today. We're so professional. Stephen. See, Steven. Stephen.
Mhm.
So Stephen, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Well, I'm older than the hills.
Well, depends. I made some hills in the backyard. They were pretty young.
But I'm 68, and I'm a businessman here in the United States, in Washington D.C. And I've got an interest in the Philippines and Asian culture in general. And I found your channel and a couple others that really intrigued me. And I'm about ready to make my first trip this October, end of October. I'll be there for 30 days.
30
And
days.
God willing, might live there. You never know. I might stumble and fall down a riverbed, But hopefully I don't make any mistakes,
Yeah, you're not. You might slip in the mud. It's pretty muddy
right?
here.
Slip on the sidewalks, get run over by a jeepney,
Or,
I mean, the world there is so different than what I'm used to,
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned sidewalks. You might get hit by a motorcycle.
Yeah, right, yeah. And
yesterday,
I run into a cow,
All this. Have you been here before?
No, but I see some videos,
Oh my goodness. What you're saying is like it happened like yesterday.
Oh, is that right?
we had cows coming.
Yeah.
She was talking to the cow yesterday. Remember that? We're pulling in.
Yeah.
She rolled down the window. Moo.
Like, move on, It's my new car.
And then I think it was only yesterday too that I seen two motorcycles ride down the sidewalk.
Yeah, well, people got their angle how they're going to get through, traffic or get past the rough patches on the road, or maybe they're avoiding somebody they don't want, to see them. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true though.
There's some stealthy things going on over there in the Philippines.
Yeah. But it is beautiful. What aspect of the Philippines do you really like? Is there a certain aspect you really like that attracts you?
Yeah, I'm originally from Colorado. I was born and raised there, and Colorado, United States, in the southwestern part, up in the mountains. So I am more of a mountain person. I do enjoy the beaches, the water, but I do enjoy cooler air and less humidity. And that's just my personal preference. Generally, when you're near the ocean and flatter land, that's where the heat is. But I do love nature. I do love the most important thing is the people. I feel that in Colorado we really have great people, and very helpful. And now I haven't been there in 50 years, but that's the way it used to be. Everything changes. But generally, I enjoy meeting new people, friendly people, different cultures. I'm a very curious person. And so the thing that intrigued me about the Philippines is 7,500 islands. I said, what the heck? I figured, 2, 3, 4, because I kind of look on the map. Okay, there's a couple, 4 or 5 big islands there.
Yeah.
But I heard the story like 7,500. I mean, where are they? I don't know where they are, right? And then it's funniest thing how I even found about the Philippines. It was just on a feed. I was actually studying Chinese culture. Actually, I was bitten by the Chinese culture, and I was just doing a lot of research on it, and I actually wanted to go to China. And then I heard about Singapore, Hong Kong, so Southeast Asia. And but basically, once you start doing those kinds of videos, and once you're starting interested in that, it's the algorithm, YouTube,
Yeah.
and they
they
said, well,
throw
if
it
you're
all.
interested in that, what do you think about this, and then all of a sudden you get a screenshot or a YouTube thumbnail, palm trees, umbrella drinks, the hammock, of course, you might see some bikinis, for, the algorithm knows I'm a man, right? Yeah.
What?
And, but I thought, wow, that's Philippines. All right, let's see what that's about, And then the more you look at something, the more it's suggested to you. And that's what's designed to keep you on a YouTube. And I don't watch TV. I don't read newspapers. I found that YouTube from my friends uh, is got everything there. It's got anything
Yeah.
from current news, what's going on in the world, to podcasts. You can find experts on anything. You can learn anything on YouTube. And I just find YouTube fascinating as a platform. And
Amazing.
I just surf YouTube, and but I don't like randomly like to waste my time, and I'm just not there sitting looking at. I don't have TikTok. I don't have, I don't watch silly things. So I'm a much more serious person. So I go there to learn, and
You're
so
really brother from different mother.
yeah, I saw Carl.
You're so much alike.
I saw
You're,
Carl.
you're
We look pretty
describing me,
similar.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Everything you just said is me.
Yeah. We look pretty similar. I think I have more hair there on top, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You,
Yeah.
you definitely got more. Yeah, you said the other day you're getting a
And I
haircut.
think I'm a little older than you. I think, aren't I?
Well, you're only 25, so
Yeah, 25.
I think you look a lot
what?
younger than me.
I do feel like I'm very young. Inside, I feel very young, healthy. I just, to talk about my life, I'd never been ill, never been sick my whole life. Very healthy. Worked practically 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, my whole life. I'd been married 23 years and now divorced 6. To a beautiful Persian woman. We've gone along great, but we during that big recession that crippled the United States and a lot of the world, we were both self-employed. I had her in her business, I had my business, and we were in the service industry, and it just clobbered us. It caught us at a bad time, and we were over leveraged, and uh, we held on for another 5 years, thinking it's going to change, and then we just had to start changing our life, financial life, and that. So the long story short is, um, some people made a lot of money and really grew during the recession, but in order for people to grow, people got to lose, and
Yeah.
so I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of power, strength in my body and my mind, because where do you go? Every turn you make, you lose money. You know,
Yeah.
and I was at a great location for my business. I mean, I was making money and everything's great, but of a flip of a switch, when that economy flipped due to the subprime mortgage, which had nothing to do with me, it's like I went from great to zero, hero to zero overnight, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. So, well, you just got to, make lemon juice, lemonade when you have lemons. And so we just
Yeah.
dealt with it. And she was great in the beginning. But, women, they get a little bit more, how can I say, emotional as we're aging on, and fearful. And I had probably had a much more positive attitude. And her cup was half empty, mine was half full.
Mm.
She's
Yeah.
looking at the cups, and so our paths basically diverged, and so she moved on with my possessions, and
Wow.
and I felt at the time it's fine. After 23 years, I'm a man, I can rebuild my life, and we're still best friends. We're still great together, and I tease her all the time.
Okay.
How's my money doing?
How's your money
How's
doing?
my money doing in your bank account?
Well, it's quite admirable that you're still like friends and that.
Yeah, we're better friends.
That's
Yeah.
a hard thing to do.
Well, you know
I'm
what?
not sure.
It's
Yeah.
very tough. And she divorced me, and at the when it's all final, she's outside the courtroom, and she said, "Can we still be friends?" And I was thinking about, sure, why not? And so we talk practically. She only lives a mile away, and we don't see very often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and it's just for a short time, just to catch up. We find she was married before, so I have a stepson through her, so we don't have our own kids. So I just became a grandfather. He just finally had a boy. So I get updated on the news, and we're treating each other like we're family, but we're not husband and wife. So she said that's why we're still kind of connected, is we're family.
Yeah.
So that's an adult way to handle divorce. It's an adult way when you understand that times change and people change.
Yeah.
I think we'd rather. I think we'd rather be together. Like if the recession never happened, if we didn't lose all my money, we would be together. But
Yeah.
the past is the past. So, but that brings me to the current. So
Yeah.
we're adjusting, and she's great, and she's over here. And I'm over here.
Yeah.
And which is it's a great place for me to be single again. And and I've stayed single. I haven't dated or anything since. And now just starting to get on the internet and starting to. That's how I met you, basically, and found your little group. I think it's called Baby Love, something like that. Is it Baby
Beautiful
Love?
baby love. Yeah, beautiful
Yeah.
baby
Oh,
love.
beautiful Baby Love. Okay.
I call her beautiful all the time. She calls me
Okay.
baby love. So we just call it
Oh, that's
beautiful
cute.
baby
Yeah, I was
love.
wondering how you came
.com.
up with the name. I mean, I thought, am I looking for babies on the internet?
I think we do confuse a lot of
I
people
felt
with
a little
that.
guilty typing that into the thing. I thought I was going to be, targeted by the FBI.
No,
Check out his
you're not a
family
pedo.
history here. Old man looking for baby love.
That's where we got it from. From day one, I started calling her beautiful because I said, it's not just your look. I said, you're a beautiful person. Her love goes, her personality is so deep, Stephen.
Yeah,
She's so beautiful. When I say beautiful, I don't just mean her
beautiful
outward
inside and out.
appearance.
And I
She
get it.
really, yeah, she really is. And when I say beautiful, it's really a heartfelt beautiful. I call her beautiful because when I'm saying that word, I'm thinking of her character and how she is. And of course, she looks beautiful.
I get it. I get it.
And then she was always calling me baby love. I say was.
Yeah, I know.
She was always calling me baby love.
Baby that's eating her out of house and home. The baby instead of the baby formula, steaks and potatoes.
So we added .com, so that's where we got it. So this is the first time doing a live on this channel, so we may not have any viewers. I don't know. We never did a live on this channel before. We just thought we'd give it a try.
Yeah, but you still, even though they're not joining now, you'll still post it and people see it later.
Oh yeah, it's automatically posted and uploaded afterwards. Yeah. So what's your view, if you don't mind me asking, what's your viewpoint of God, spirituality, how you look at God? If you don't mind me asking.
No, I don't mind at all.
It's
actually changed. It's changed and evolved over years. And when I was young, I was, my parents took me to a Methodist. So we're Christian Methodists. And then my mother was more religious than my father. My father just didn't go because he was wanted to be independent minded. And he thought like church and the group environment was more of where it's kind of like more of a mind control or more of a influencer and where people go to gossip. I mean, just the whole thing sometimes can be showy. Back in the day when I was young and we were going, we're back to date myself as the 60s. And and so people get in their Sunday bests, and we grew up in a small town in Colorado, and So, as would happen, that's where people go and meet and mingle and talk. And you hear the preacher. My mother sang in the choir. Even my father did for a while, sang a choir. And so, but he eventually got to the viewpoint like, well, why am I here? Right. And, um, so he had his, I guess, believe in God and this and that, but he didn't necessarily believe it. Hey, I've got to go to church every day or every Sunday and mingle and be in a group. And that makes me a better person, you know. And my father was very smart. He was very smart, and my mother too. But she was more of a spiritual person, and she wanted that meeting and connection every week to kind of reinforce it, right? And so she took the children with her. So that was my first, you know, encounter with religion. So Methodist, and then you know I go to Sunday school for children and things like that. And summer school was in the church, right? So we had fun. So it was a fun, good things. Of course, when you're young, you don't know anything about anything. What are they talking about? This story, this, that story, that, and it doesn't make sense. And you just want to go out and have fun. And but they're dragging you to church, and you know you got to do this, and now you got to look good. You got to act good. You can't say anything, you know. So when you're young, it's kind of rough, you know. Church is rough.
Yeah, that's the young stage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's disciplined, and you're learning a bunch of stuff that you don't understand. So that's my first impression of church. And then, so I didn't go for a long time. When my parents didn't go, and I grew up, and I moved out. I moved out of my house, my parents' house, when I was 16. I'm very independent. I'm strong-willed, and I want to go. I ended up working for a German man who worked on cars. He's an expert a mechanic, and for Volkswagens back in the day, Volkswagen Beetles, and so that intrigued me. And so I apprenticed with him, kind of like the old-fashioned European way apprenticeship program. And I just followed him around when he got hired or fired, or he, you know, quit, you know.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated with it, and I learned a lot. Within 2 years, I had my own business.
Wow.
And from that point on, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about business, and learned my value, what I could do, you know, my potential. That brings me right up to about 1979. I was tired of cars, and but maybe I'm getting away from your question about church and God.
No, you go. Well, that's okay.
But why did I not go back to church, right? So,
Yeah.
in essence, I got into business. And when you're into business, self-employed, I've been self-employed most of my whole life. You're working 7 days a week. And it's a constant, especially when you start out, struggle getting the money. I mean, I started with nothing. Banks wouldn't loan me money. My parents helped me here every now and then. I plead with them. If I only had this, I could do that. And they think about it, and they give me this, and I did that. But it wasn't enough to start really a business. But little by little, I grew the businesses, and but that kept me busy. And also, what I found out about myself is by being in business, kept me out of trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
So I didn't date. I didn't women. I did date a little bit when I was in college age, but very short and not serious at all, because I was scared of getting into a relationship, and I thought it would distract me, and I wasn't ready. I mean, I met one beautiful woman who already had a child, and I was set up on a blind date. I was quite surprised how pretty she was, and she, you know, really would be the ideal partner for anybody. And but I kind of was taken back when I met Junior at dinner, because she invited me for dinner, and so it scared me to death.
Was it that bad?
Well, no, it's just like I'm eating dinner and I'm looking at Junior and I'm looking at her, you know.
Was he like throwing food at you?
No, he was so polite, and I think his name was Johnny or something, you know. It's just, we could have looked like the all-American young family, and I was the new one sitting at the dinner table, and it just kind of, I was like, oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? You know, beautiful
Life
woman.
ahead.
Already
Yeah.
got Junior, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm eating
Instant
wonderful
family.
meal. And I thought, oh my
Just add
God.
water.
Uh-huh. And and she wanted to go out with me again, and I said, well, she says I had a wonderful time, and smiled at me, and I did smile back because I did have a wonderful time, and but then I didn't call her back. You know, I mean, I was just scared that I would just fall in love, and that I just said it's not the right time. You know, I was just too young, and so I've always been kind of um, thinking about my long term goals, and I just felt that being in a relationship was just going to be too much for me to handle. And you know what? Looking back on it, I wasn't ready at all to be with anybody. And so then goes another 10 years, 10, 15 years. And I met my first wife through a blind date, and she was going through a divorce. So all through all this, no even thought of going into church and all that.
Yeah.
And she was a Muslim, and anyway, we got along. We ended up getting married, and she already had a son, 8 years old. But even though she wasn't a strict Muslim or anything, we didn't go to church. And so as time evolved, she converted on her own to Christianity, and she wanted me
Oh,
to go, right, and be with her. So I did go. That's when I started going back to church and was with her. And so that was interesting, kind of piqued my interest.
yeah.
But it wasn't until after the divorce that I started thinking about it, but I still didn't go, right?
Yeah.
But where we're at now is where my business is located. And I rent office space here. And it was just this last year that my next door neighbor has a office, and he's a Seventh Day Adventist. And and I met his wife first, and she's wonderful. They're from Bulgaria,
Hmm.
and they said anytime you want to come in, and we have our church here and that. And I thought, oh, that's wonderful. Maybe I will. And I kind of forgot about it. But I was there on a Saturday because they celebrate on the Sabbath on Saturdays.
Hmm.
And I'm walking through and I see a bunch of people. I hear the music and they're waving at me. Hi, how are you? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to sit down. And that's the start of it. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
that's kind of long winded, but that's the
No,
actual, uh,
interesting.
it's a kind of life history of why I didn't, you know,
Yeah.
and I was kind of, even though my wife went from Muslim to Christian, and I was kind of in that space for a little bit, it still didn't resonate with me. So, I think it has to resonate with you before you accept it. And
Yeah.
so, what really intrigued me was the Bulgarian pastor and his wife are so friendly, so nice. And that really kind of touched me. And after the first visit, I saw all their um, uh, petitioners. Is that the way you say it? Petitioners? Parishioners, people who go to church, parishioners, really authentic people, very nice. And it was a casual church. So in this space here, so they don't have a building of their own. They use this space, and that for me was really very current. It's not stuffy. It's not. Um, it feels really good, right? Feels
Yeah.
natural for me. And so then I started coming. So then I go to their Bible study. I'm adult. I learn and I understand. Whereas before, I didn't understand. I didn't understand the importance. I didn't understand how it relates to me, and I didn't have a want or need. Right. So
Hmm.
now, I figured more how it relates to me for my future, my wants and needs, and how it fills the gap.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I noticed your tag name online is Truth Finder, right?
yes,
Truth Finder.
yes.
Yeah. So where do you get that Truth
Well,
Finder?
that's an
Something
interesting
like what you're
story.
talking about, maybe?
That's a very interesting story, and I won't go into much detail because um, it has something to do personally. But what almost 1 year ago, when I first started going online, um, and I met some people online, um, and I thought my life was going in a certain direction, and you know, um, in essence, there was a fork in the road, and I found out that I wasn't where I thought it was. In the um, uh, at my stage of my life, and what I had kind of been positioned, and so that's when I started the channel Truth Finder, so I could find the truth. And so it
Okay.
just has something more of a personal,
Yeah.
because I'm a very truth oriented person, and I can handle everything, but shades of gray, and from white to black, where is the truth in between that? You see, so
Yeah.
that's my whole thing is authenticity, and to point out when things are, well, let's say my perspective. So Truth Finder is basically a perspective of my truth and my perspective.
Yeah.
After
Okay.
careful thought, and so I think about everything, and I look at things from a perspective of careful thought.
Yeah. That's a good way to be. That's a good way to
Mm.
be.
I don't want to
So
make any more mistakes in my life,
yeah, I know what you mean. As you grow, you hopefully are
Yeah.
learning from any
Mhm.
past, you know,
Yeah.
stumblings and
Well,
try to do
that's it.
better.
And to be honest, when I was married for 23 years, um, that's way before the internet was around. And then single, you think about it, it's 30 years, and life had changed so much. I mean, I was a fish out of water for social media, for everything. I was in my own little bubble, drowning, drowning in
Yeah.
debt. I think so much
Yeah.
of the world was, but I wasn't. Let's say I came out in a different way than many other people did. I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah. Well, some things I don't bloom in, like for example, Facebook. I'm still not a Facebook person.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's I had to learn. I didn't know that much. Mine was all business. My Facebook was all business, and how I even got into Chinese culture is I had nothing, absolutely nothing personal on my Facebook. Even still to this day, I don't have much personal. Um, like I don't post like what I did today, or what I did. I don't go to parties. I don't post all that. It's more about how I think, um, what I believe, but my personality basically. But a Chinese woman had gone on there and starting making comments on about my work. And one of my businesses is I work on cars. I've had an auto body and paint business for many years. Um, and so she started commenting on, oh, wow, you must be a professional. You look like you know what you're doing. Uh, I'm amazed or whatever. Yeah, whatever. She says, give me a lot of compliments and then started asking questions. And I thought, who is this woman, And why is she on my page? That's how naive I was. And so I thought, okay, let's find out who you are. And that's the start of my interest in Asian culture. Now she turned
Oh,
out to be a scammer,
yeah. Okay.
and
She wanted your wallet.
yeah, she was trying to butter me up, so uh, for dinner. She
Yeah.
eat me for
Yeah.
dinner, get a
Yeah.
piece of my wallet. But
Yeah.
but that from that point on, I mean, I was like very intrigued because they use psychology. What her exact words are? Wow, have you ever thought about retiring? No. What would you like to do? I said, retire? I'm not going to retire. Don't you want to retire, see the world? Don't you want to have this? Don't you want to have that? I said, no, not really. I'm perfectly happy working. You know?
Sorry to
And
bust your bubble.
yeah, right. So I thought, why? But after a while, I found out she was a scammer, and but it did get me thinking about retiring. It did get me in the point the direction of Asian culture. So for that, it was very valuable. And so I was blessed that I did get that encounter with a scammer, and because it's turned my life around. Because I would have just worked my life away. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I understand what you mean. There's certain pivotal things in our life that kind of help us change
and it's not
direction.
it's not everything. Sometimes is positive. Sometimes you take a negative, and you think, "Wow, look at that!" Dummy me.
I've had a lot of those moments, Stephen. Dummy me.
The first wife, who's got nice, and I'm sitting there with goose eggs, and she's sitting plump, and getting her manicure and pedicure and taking care of herself, and I'm suffering.
I understand why she wants to still be friends.
Yeah. Oh, she trusts me. So the first questions are, so who are you talking to in the Philippines? I tell you a funny story. It just happened too. Happens that we had the same bank, right? Because I got my first wife into that bank and set her all up. And the bank manager at the time, she just actually retired like 2 weeks ago. And she and my wife has since divorce moved her money to another bank, right? But the bank manager's from Taiwan, right? And so I've known her for 25 years. And unbeknownst to me, but I would go into the bank and they say, "Oh, how you doing, Steve? What's going on?" So I'm going to go to the Philippines. I'm talking to people. These are my friends and this and that. So just general information. And I did tell my ex, "Oh, I'm going to go to the Philippines, this that." And of course, she thinks the worst. Like I'm going there for pleasure. Yeah, the worst is worse. Oh my God, what are you doing? You belong here. Don't go to the Philippines. They're full of scammers, or women will take advantage of you. I mean, just anything.
Meanwhile, I have all your things and all your money.
Yeah. But often she would say, "So who are you talking to now? How much money do you have? Oh, you have money to go to the Philippines?" And it's all about, am I in another relationship, and how much money I have? How's business? So that's the funny thing. Guess what happened to me? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the I at the bank, I just did all the cars. She called me up and said, "Can you do all of our cars, get them fresh, touch them up, and clean them up? And the bank's going to pay for part of it." And I said, "Sure, I'd be glad to help you." I did like 6 cars, and it wasn't but 3 weeks later, my wife's calling me up and says, "The word is that you're going to the Philippines. You're talking to all these women." So what are you talking about? So she had called up my wife for a lunch date, told her she's retiring, and then started telling her all my plans to go into the Philippines. I said, "You got to be kidding!" And I'm denying. And at the time, I actually did have one Filipina friend who's just an acquaintance. I just hadn't even met her, right? But she's actually 72, older than myself, and I was going to go meet her and just kind of sit and relax and start my vacation there, and in Dapitan City, in Mindanao, right? And it just sounded like the ideal thing. That way, she meets me at the airport, shows me where the hotel is, and kind of get me set up in a nice little city, other than Dumaguete and Cebu, and the typical places that you can land as an expat and meet land sharks,
Yeah, exactly.
and getting taken advantage of. Because, for me, the way I look, even if I dress down, even if I try to look like I'm homeless, I don't look like I'm homeless. And,
Yeah.
and I just was fearful that I got a target on my back, and as I walk by, just like I'm going to have a trail of little scammers following me everywhere. So I thought the safe thing to do was to meet somebody, somebody older, you know, that I don't have to worry about she's going to necessarily try to take advantage of me. And we just have an honest friendship. Um, so that was my angle. So that was the woman I was talking to. I was telling the banker, oh, I got a friend. I'm going to go there, this and that. And so she went there and just kissed me, the little, coconut line was busy, from here in the United States,
Yeah.
right to my wife, my first wife. And
Wow.
I'm getting grilled phone calls, FaceTimes. And like my wife is Persian, so my first wife's Persian, and jealous and just very divorced, best friends, but there's still that thing tugging at her heart, and like, oh, he's going somewhere, he's doing something, and
Regret.
she's like a little detective. She's going to find out what the real story is, and and she says, Stephen, I know you. When you say no, that means yes. That you do have somebody. I'm trying to deflect, bob and weave, and trying to kind of say no, nothing to see, nothing to see. I can't believe she said that. I don't know why she's telling you that. Um, and that was before, and then now, which I actually have, met some people, and
Yeah, we'd like to hear about that.
well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say too much.
Oh,
I might,
okay.
get in worse trouble. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, I did. I actually have, met somebody that is really, really touched me in a deep way, and
Yeah.
I can feel the authenticity. Um,
How
and
so? What do you mean when you say you feel the authenticity? Like, I'd like to hear the deets on that one.
yeah, isn't it weird? I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm saying use the wrong word, weird. But I mean, I was caught off guard, actually. I mean, I joined your group and not expecting much. I thought, because I actually hired a relationship coach, and found out a lot about myself and what, how I should, pick my values and how I should align my goals first before I start meeting somebody. And I've learned about the 4 or 5 stages of relationship building, and so I learned a lot. I took 2 courses, and then I talked to some people who were actually in the Philippines and who've gone through the dating scene and this, that, and they say it will take you 2, 3 years. You're going to have to go through the online dating, or if you're lucky, find somebody in person. But it's a 2, 3 year process. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I don't have the patience for 2, 3 years. I don't have the patience for hundreds of dates or hundreds of online searches. I'm a businessman. I don't have time to go, you
Yeah.
it's a needle in the haystack, So I thought,
It took us 2-3 days, actually. That's literal.
what?
It took us 2 to 3 days.
Wow, you're so lucky, and by the way, you guys are a great couple. I think you have great chemistry together.
It's all because of her. She's wonderful.
And she trained you really that quick?
No, I don't want to waste my time, and I don't
Yeah,
want to waste his time as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah, she's
yeah.
very upfront and honest. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, continue.
that's what happened with my Persian wife. I'll tell you the funny story. It was a blind date, right? But we talked 4 weeks before, and my friend is, I don't know, he lied to me. He says, oh, she's Israeli and she's dark skinned. She's going through a bad divorce. Would you want to take her out, cheer her up? And she's got an 8-year-old son, and I thought, well, yeah, I'm sure, I don't mind. I'd take her out. Turns out she's Persian, light colored skin, and the 8-year-old boy was the only truth. That was it. But we ended up talking for 4 weeks before we actually met.
Sure, that was your friend.
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess, at the time he's scared that, maybe I wouldn't go out with a Persian woman,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking, but I remember that distinctly. But she was a delight talking to on the phone. I felt very comfortable. Met her in person. The date was a cup of coffee at Roy Rogers at 6:30 at night, and she's Muslim, and she basically said very quick, there's no boyfriend girlfriend in our religion. If you like me, and she's dressed in a heavy coat and right up to here, right, and her hair is there, but she's kind of like not wintertime, but it was, she had fully
Cover
covered,
everything.
like it's fall, like right now, right? But she was fully,
Yeah.
tethered up. And there's no boyfriend or girlfriend. If you like me, we have to get engaged. And if you get engaged, you just can't say you want to get engaged and then play around with me. You have to get married, And and I was taken aback. I said, "Wow!" I was more shocked than when I first met the first woman. And she had little Junior there. I mean, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" In my brain, I'm thinking, "Wow." I just tried to be calm. I was looking at her, and then she got emotional, and she says, "You don't understand. I'm in a very bad situation. I'm going through divorce. I have a son." And and she started crying a little bit, but she held herself together. So I said, "Oh, it's very getting very heavy here, first date." And
Yeah.
and what I did was strategic. I says, "Can you give me 2 weeks to think about it?"
Hmm.
And so I had to kind of we had our coffee, and at the time she didn't want to be seen, and so I kind of like drive away with her, and so let's go driving. He says, "Oh, don't go this way because somebody's going to see us here. Okay, don't go there. My brother has a store there." And so I says, "Oh my goodness!" So she's trying not to be seen with a man, right?
Sounds like you started off a relationship with red flags.
Well, I think it was a red flag city, and I tried my best to find, this is before I knew anything about red flags, green flags, but yeah, a normal man would have probably ran. Um, but I was intrigued. So what drew me to her was her authenticity, her directness, and she wasn't playing games. And this is a true story as far as my reaction. I thought about it for 2 weeks. I said, "She's beautiful, she's honest, she's pure," and we connected. And I thought, "Stephen, you're at that time I was 33. You haven't done anything with your life socially. You've just been working business, and this is your opportunity, to be with somebody who's serious and start. You'll have an instant family." Um, my exact words were in my mind is, "What could go wrong? You know, how bad could it be?"
20 something years
And I
later.
mean, I remember distinctly that, right before I said, "Let's do it," I thought, how bad could it be and what could go wrong? And for the beginning, we had a wonderful marriage and engagement was wonderful. And we were in seventh heaven. Um, After about 3 years, she says something to me that stuck. She says, "Well, I guess the honeymoon's over." I said, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, you've changed." I said, "What do you mean I've changed? I'm still Steven. No, you used to be like this, you used to be like that, and you used to be so. I used to make her feel so light, like the bubbly and her emotions. And I says, "You got to be kidding me. You still think we're in the I mean, you think I can maintain a honeymoon, a feeling, for year after year, this and that?" And that's when all of a sudden I said, "Oh my God. Oh my God. So she wanted that kind of life where I can just be, um, you know, that keep up that energy level or keep up. And I had to work. I said, we're in the grind. This is what we have to do.
Yeah,
And
life happens.
life happens. And so she thought that we were getting kind of like stale, or let's say life was boring, or I was a workaholic, which, she spent my money before I made it. Just, and the joke is,
Holly.
yeah. So she had some big wants, and dummy me said, and because I didn't know, I'd never been married, and I just tried to make her happy. And I said, well, if that's what you want, let's do it. And that was my life basically, and fulfilling those wants and needs for her. And
Wow, that's a
and
rough way to live. Just
and
if you just doing that.
I said, uh, the reason why I have to go to work is I have to pay the Billy brothers. Like they're the mafia. Like the bills come first, and there's no excuse. So I could always kind of make a joke of it because I figure that's the easiest way to talk about serious subjects. And so my bills were, hand delivered by the Billy brothers.
Yeah,
And
got
so,
those.
yeah, you got the Billy brothers too on your back.
Oh, yeah. I got their cousins. I got their cousins and all their family.
Leo and Da Vinci.
Yeah, more
One's
than the
got a nose
brothers.
like this,
Yeah,
But so
it happens.
I can make fun of it now, but that's basically what happened. So, and it was a struggle up ever since that point in our marriage. Of course, we had a lot of good times, but then gradually it always changed. There was always another bar, another thing that we wanted to accomplish, and everything was fine because we got through it, and all of a sudden everything was working until my stepson, went to college and moved out of the house, and then we were empty nesters, and then all of a sudden the eyes are all on me, and she didn't have a little boy to take care of anymore, and I just didn't have the time because I'm paying the Billy brothers.
Yeah, working.
Yeah, yeah, and I had big expenses, um, and which is fine. I was making the money, but if I didn't go to work, my employees are not going to bring in the money for me. They would waste their time there and stretch everything. I would lose money. So that's a long story. I mean, short of it, long and short of it, of
Yeah.
how marriage can change from a
Yeah.
blissful in love to a labor of love, where I was all labor and she was in love with my labor, and
exactly.
and the benefits of a man who's working, um, to where all of a sudden she's not happy, and so. And
So
and from that point on, once somebody's not happy in a relationship, it's very hard to turn it around because they've made up their mind that, hey, this is where we are, and she's the smart one and I'm the dummy one, and and so everything was working until that financial collapse, the recession that collapsed the world, and it really buckled us financially. Basically, I lost everything except for my $500,000.
Yeah.
That's in her bank account.
Yeah. So you had mentioned the authenticity of someone here, right?
Oh, yeah. So I forgot how I get sidetracked. I do talk a lot, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm just curious about that angle, that point of view.
My first wife was super authentic, and we had that relationship. I got engaged after 4 weeks, and we had a 23-year marriage, and a lot of great times. And she's still beautiful. We're friends, and she's happy. And I have to rebuild my life. So when I met this other person, I already know what an authentic person looks like. I know how they act, and I spent a long time talking with her and basically connecting with her, and she followed word by word, and she agreed, and she gave her point of view. And because I ask her questions, it's not just me talking, but I ask her questions. What do you want in a man? What's your ideal goals? What is, and to be honest with you, I didn't want to ask too much personal questions about her and what happened. Okay, why do you why are you a single mom, or what happened to your marriage, or, I don't ask things like that. because the fact is she is a single mom. The fact is that she lives where she lives, and whatever it is. So I'm not so concerned how it happened or what's happened. I'm more concerned of how she's dealt with it. And what she dealt with it was is she prayed, she went to work, and she had a good family. And and God's very, very central in her life. So I quickly understood that she's a practicing Christian. She's Catholic, and um, that's one way that you get through these very traumatic experiences, especially for a woman, is that she relies upon her religion. And so when I hear things like that, and then little by little, she will tell me things. I don't have to ask. She'll tell me a little bit more about her life, and how she's made these decisions. Um, One of them is she didn't start looking out for more men to meet, right? So she's kind of came into her independent self, and she went to work overseas and worked in healthcare, and and she earned the money, and she was away from her child, and that was kind of traumatic for the child and herself. And but she made the sacrifices. So in a way, she is just as serious as my first uh, wife. She has a sense of responsibility for the child. The big difference is I entered into my first wife's life at that traumatic time that she hadn't healed yet, which I had no
Yeah.
idea, and that
Yeah.
she
Big thing.
eventually brought that into our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so red flags. Oh my goodness, I could tell you all the red flags of what not to do. You don't go into a relationship while somebody's going through a very, very, very bad divorce. And so, and then try to heal them. They've got to heal themselves. I mean, actually, it was a big part of her healing because she found somebody else, and it made the healing faster. But later on in life, that's when the baggage started unloading, uh, and then she's triggered by certain things. So it wasn't right away. She thought she was healed, and then years later, is if you don't get healed, you're not healed. It's re-triggered very, very fast. Um,
Yeah.
so what impressed me with her is um, it's been 9 years, and she truly is healed, and she is uh, a high value woman, in my opinion, because she understands her value. She understands her after several careful thought and consideration, knows what she wants, and she doesn't settle for less. She goes through all the pains of being single and lonely, financial and emotional loneliness, being separated from her child. I mean, all these things can kind of like really tug at your heart, right? So I'm a very empathetic person. So I'm listening, I'm learning, and mostly feeling. And but she doesn't tell me wanting my sympathy. She's not telling me in a sob story type of thing. It's more of a matter of fact, and it's a fact that she's still sunny and bright and healed, and she still smiles through this, and it's not affecting her in that way, and that shows authentic healing and
Yeah.
forgiveness. And so that's the thing that I'm looking for is her disposition, her attitude, her maturity. Yeah, how mature is
Yeah.
she? And so I want somebody who's very mature, somebody I can relate to. And so as each day went on, I see that we're getting closer and stronger and connecting. And so that's the key is how strong is the connection and how fast is the growth. So the faster you grow together, what bigger the strength. That means your goals and values are more in line. The more you feel the grinding and the friction, then you're probably not that aligned. You might be more trying to act like you are like, oh, I like going to nightclubs and I like, dancing, or that would be a conflict for me, right? But she is more of a home person and a family person, and that's more in line with me. So these are the things I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And of course, we have an age difference.
I was going to ask about that. Like, that's a big thing. If you watch these YouTube videos
Yeah,
of guys over here making YouTube
right.
videos, almost everyone talks about the age gap and things of that
Hmm.
nature. So I'm not sure exactly what your age gap might be there, but talk a little bit about that, what you think about
I
it,
was
and
actually,
as opposed to maybe what people
yeah,
say on YouTube and your
yeah.
thoughts.
Well, to be honest with you, with my relationship coach, being 68, I was worried about that because I do see a lot online where they talk about, 50s and 60s, and 60s being a young 60s, not older 60s going to 70s, would be kind of like where you tap out as an older man. Um, and you have marketplace value, let's say. And I was worried that, I'd be looked at as an ATM, like a walk-in ATM, and people would just, be approaching me and say, yes, here's my card, and you should, be servicing my, wants and needs, right? Um, but my
Sounds like your last
relationship,
relationship.
yeah, well, that one was, the biggest ATM theft ever,
They took the machine.
Yeah, 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 yeah. She broke the machine, she
She
professional.
backed up the pickup truck and put it on board.
She was a professional. Didn't even leave any fingerprints, Left me smiling. I don't know how she did it, but I was a willing accomplice, in my own emptying of my bank account.
Anyway, sorry for the distraction.
No,
Continue.
no. But you see, you and I, we all love to have fun and joke,
Yeah.
So we are like from the same family. But
Yeah.
um, I forgot what I was saying. You had asked
You
the
have those
question.
moments.
No, you asked the question. No, you asked the question of what was their last question?
Yeah, I was talking about what was my
Age
last
gap.
question?
It's age gap.
Yeah, we're a lot alike.
Oh,
Our
the age
memories
gap.
going.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talking about the age gap and what people on
How the
YouTube
age
say
gap
and then
is
how
just
you
slipped.
feel about
Yeah,
it.
I could have, just segued right out of that if I wanted to,
Yeah.
couldn't I? But no, I want to approach that because my relationship coach said, Stephen, don't worry about the age gap. I said, well, what age gap do you think? She said, you could easily be with somebody 26, 27 with your personality and you're healthy, the way you are, 26, 38, 40, 43 would be perfectly within that range. You could probably, if you wanted to, even go younger. But I thought, oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to go. I don't want to go dealing with somebody I have to babysit or um, I have to train, because when you're young, your frontal lobe is not even fully developed till you're 30. A lot of people don't know that. So you're not emotionally stable. And that when your frontal lobe,
Exactly.
that makes all the decisions and that makes all your value choices. And if you're not developed, and men will probably develop slower than women. I think women do develop a little bit faster.
Yeah, I'm really slow.
Emotionally. I was pretty slow too.
He helps me.
Oh, did you get called dummy a lot when you were young? No, I'm just teasing.
I call myself dummy a lot.
Yeah, hey, dummy, come over here. No, I'm just teasing. But so I thought, okay, what age gap would be appropriate for me? And I had heard, which is popular, half your age plus 7 would be a normal type of successful age gap. So if I'm 68, that would be 34 plus 7, be about 41. And I thought, that sounds about appropriate. But then I thought, well, you're not going to maybe find a perfect one at 41, but how about 36 to 43 is what I was thinking. And the person I've met is 38. And she's a very mature 38. And so that's what is matched for me. So before I met her, 100%, I thought, I don't know how I'm going to find somebody who's mature, has my values, um, and then you know has somebody who's mature and has my values. She's probably been with American men, and then if she's been with that introduced that American lifestyle, then she's probably westernized. And I just start thinking the worst, the worst, the worst, and then I'm right back in the soup again, right? Just in a different part of the world.
Yeah.
So the problems are then people will look at you as an ATM. Even here in the United States, their women they're no dummies. You go on a date, and the first questions are, "Oh, where do you live? What do you do? Is that your car over there?"
Yeah,
And
trying to subtly
How
find out
much
how
you
much
earn?
money you got.
and it's just sizing up for your bank account, and what their lifestyle is going to be like. And there's an actual saying that men and women, how they think, and men want Barbie because they look at Barbie and they look with their eyes, right? And they want Barbie for Barbie, right? Women want Ken, but they don't want Ken. They want Ken's lifestyle. So they want Ken's car.
Oh,
They
I'm
want
sorry.
they want to be Ken's girlfriend and be treated, but they don't want Ken. And the theory behind that, also I've heard, psychology wise, women are also some of the biggest cheaters. Yes, because they are the way their brain's wired. They get dissatisfied faster in a relationship, and most of the time they're the ones who are suing for divorce.
I feel like I'm talking to Dr. Dobson.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research. How did I end up in the land of under Oz? It's like you have Oz, and then I'm under Oz, the land of Oz, the Wizard of Oz. And how did I end up in this upside down world? And so I've looked at it. I've seen the research in that, and so men tend to be, of course, men cheat, or women cheat, men cheat, but generally women get dissatisfied faster, feel like they're maybe not being appreciated as much. They feel like the relationship's stale, and they are always looking for more. Let's say the mind is set for the greener pasture, right? Is the grass greener on the other side?
Maybe Western woman, but not Filipino woman.
Yeah. Well, this is.
I was wanting to ask you about that. I'm glad you.
Well,
glad you spoke up.
I would tell you that not all women are the same. Yeah, and I think that Filipino women specifically tend to be more loyal, and they don't need as much from a man. And one man's full fills her up, and she doesn't have wandering eyes. So I do believe that all women are not the same. Western women. And actually, some Asian women are more westernized. And I will tell you, I would say that Chinese women are probably are kind of. I just don't want to generalize, or I don't want to put them down, but I would say that a lot of Chinese women, I'll just put it like that, a lot of Chinese women have been known to be more materialistic and more status driven. Like how many degrees do you have? How many houses do you have? When they're dating, right? You can't even date a woman in China unless you pass the houses and cars and what job you have and this and that. And and they will quickly fall out of love if your status has gone down, or your status is not rising fast enough for them, right? So so I've had to delve into, and I was just a very naive young man when I got married, and then when I was still naive when I got divorced. And so I've done all my research since then. It's taken 6 years to build up a map of where I am in the social world, the hierarchy of all of a sudden I'm a mature man. And now who do I want? Do I want somebody my age? And the other thing I found out is, since I was married to a really wonderful woman, I wanted somebody who's similar, right? And a lot of men go to the opposite direction. Oh, I don't want anybody like my ex, right? And some men have already, the expats I hear, like they've been married 3 times, and they just have the worst stories, and they almost sound like women haters, and
Yeah.
and they put the Filipina on a pedestal because they say, oh, the Filipinos are so great, they're this and that, they're servicing me like I'm the king, and they're like subservient to the men, right? And I'm looking at it and saying, this is just such a weird picture. I don't want that for my relationship. So I found somebody. How I resonate with her is first things out of her word, out of her, trying to communicate with me is she's very independent, and she's very strong, and she's actually very happy, right? And she's not wealthy, and but she's proud of where she's at in her life with her child, and the child's everything to her life. So these are exactly the things I want to hear. And when you tell me exactly what I want is somebody I want to be with, and a lot of the values that my wife had, to be honest and faithful, and connect on a deep level. I mean, I'm already there. And actually, I was teasing my new friend. I said the benefit of being with a mature man is I've already been trained 23 years.
Well, good point.
Right? I mean, I've been through my PhD program. you know,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I know what not to do.
Yeah.
And also
I've
I said,
also learned what I don't want.
yeah. I also know. Yeah, I said I only need to get hit once. I don't know how to keep beating me. But the other thing is. Uh, Yeah, we just have fun together on the texting, right? So today we spent a lot of time texting, had a wonderful time, and of course, I'm telling the jokes, and
Yeah.
teasing her, and
Does she get your jokes?
oh yeah,
I'm curious.
yes, no, she
There's
does.
this
No,
thing
she does.
between, North
No,
American here, and our
yeah,
jokes are not quite, they don't always
no,
come through, do they, Ma?
yeah.
They don't always
Oh
come
yeah,
through.
yeah. Every now and then she'll give me the I forget what they call them now. The mime. They give the mime where it's kind of like thinking. She'll get like 20 of them, and then a couple seconds later, she gives me the laughing,
Yeah, they
So
call it loading.
yeah,
That was a
Yeah,
new term
it's
for me.
loading.
yeah,
The brain is loading.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I was wondering because I thought, I wouldn't think it would be that much. Be curious. Why would she be questioning? Because for me, it's like, okay, well, she wants to debate me on that. Well, why are you doing that? What do you think like that? But she's loading up her thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what they say. I'm loading. I didn't know what they meant first when they're
Mhm.
different ones were saying it, including Mahal saying I'm loading. And I'm like, what? I mean,
That's
thinking about
now
it.
that makes perfect sense. But no, actually, that's the surprising thing. We communicate, especially by text, um, flawlessly. I mean, actually, and that's the other thing I actually enjoy because we just communicate, and at least that's what it feels like. But we still have to meet each other in person, and so I told her there's the 5 steps basically. The first is where you actually meet each other for a relationship. Second is there attraction? Are you attracted to each other? Third, um, do you have a connection? Do you connect? So it's one thing to be attracted, but do you have an equal connection? Can you connect on an intellectual, or we're not talking about a physical connection, right? But it's more of a emotional and
Yeah,
intellectual.
heart to heart. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I told her certain things. We were stage 1. Okay, now we're stage 2. Now we're stage 3. And and then stage 4 is are you compatible? So you can have the first 3, but living together and being together, you might get under each other's skin, and you might love her, and she might love you, but are you still compatible? And that's where I think my first wife and I, we were compatible some days, and some days we weren't compatible. And
Oh, okay.
Our certain days we just flowed, especially the first years of marriage. The last years of marriage, we're just grinding, and probably weren't compatible, different mindsets. And it was really a struggle to be married the last 10 years. Um, And so, and then the fifth stage, which a lot of people don't talk about, is okay. So you have four stages. You're compatible. You're aligned. Everything, but is the timing right? And are the circumstances right to make the decision to be in a more committed relationship? So, and we're really right now we're basically almost in the fourth stage. And I told her basically the fifth stage is basically within grasp. The timing is almost perfect for both of us. So that's
Yeah.
why it's actually moved quite fast, even though I kind of joke because I've told a couple of friends and they said, "Oh my God, Stephen, you slow down. Oh my God, oh my God, be
Yeah.
careful, be careful, be careful." I said, "Yeah, yeah, I got the train. It's rolling and the brakes are full on, but we're going downhill and we're going down fast. You
It's
know?
hard to stop. Yeah.
The brakes are
Well,
overheating, you know, and
this
I
is
don't know
leading me.
how." I don't know how, because when you emotionally connect with somebody, intellectually connect with somebody, I don't know how you slow down because it's
Well,
so, the body and mind are just so overpowering. And so I told her from day one, we've got to go slow, we've got to be concentrate, we've got to focus. She says, yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
But
Well, it's leading to my question.
yeah, you can feel the brakes overheating, you know.
Because again, I'll go back. Like when I was in LDR, or even before I met Mahal, I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, guys over here. And one of the big things that I always heard pretty much most of them say was never just meet someone online, especially don't commit. When you come over here, play the field, meet this one, meet that one, try to take a lot of time, date a lot of girls. Yeah, check out all the options. You'll have better options when you're on the ground. And don't ever commit while you're over there to someone over here.
I've seen the same videos,
yeah. And so, but you know, the way I looked at it was totally different.
Right.
Some of these guys need to throw out their YouTube PhDs, I think.
Yeah.
But because the way I looked at it, I was like, okay, I got my mind made up of the kind of person I want to meet.
Right.
So I'm already halfway there. I kind of know who I want to meet. I don't need to see option one, option two, option 10, 20. So then when we started talking, we hit it off immediately. We're, like you said, texting, laughing, joking, carrying on, just fun, right? And then it just developed more heartstrings involved. I was like, it didn't take me long at all to figure out, hey, this is the person I like. I don't need option 2, 5, 10, 25. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, as you know, you know a little bit about my situation. Well, I am, since I've already gone through a fast communication. You can almost call it speed dating, where you just talk to somebody for 4 weeks over the phone, and then you meet one time, and then you get engaged. So I already done that. It turned into a 23-year-old marriage, and we're still best friends, right? We're still family. Her family and my family are still close connected. I'm talking about my brother, sisters. My parents have passed away. Her mom's still alive, but her father. I was best friends with her dad. I loved her dad. He loved me too. He's always defended me when she would be upset or this and that. He said, "Steve's such a good boy. You know, leave him alone. Give him a break. Take it easy on him. You know." And so she listened, and she said, "Okay." You know, and she would calm down, right? Because she listened to her dad. But the adage that these guys portray is, you're the hot you're the hot commodity, and then you're the person who has the options, and you have 1,000 women who will kind of
throw at your feet.
Yeah. And for me, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Well, first, the other thing is how do you even know who you want? And if I'm going and dating with 5, 10, 20, 100 different women, you know, first of all, it's not time. You will fall emotionally for each one of them because each one of them is different. And it just seems a tug at your personality. You have to be very cold to date that many people and say, you're not it, you're not it, you're this, that. It's like playing games, really.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I think.
and I like
Games.
you. And I was basically became very similar mindset to my wife, very direct and very, I know what I want now. And I have, uh, and I have the option to wait. So I'm not looking at women and online. I'm not trying to get into a long-term LDR relationship until I'm ready. I'm trying to be more focused, and I always believed in meeting somebody through friends. And so, rather than online dating apps where people act like they're somebody and oftentimes use filters, they oftentimes say things and portray themselves the way they think the other person would like them. So I just don't see it as an authentic way to meet somebody. You're seeing a facade, you're seeing the face that they put on, and you're seeing their public face, basically. And in psychology, we all have basically how we project ourselves to the public, but then we have our private personality. And so I'm looking for more of a person who shows me the private side and doesn't present that facade. So, in essence, how did I find her prospectively? Um, I found her to be authentic right away and show me her private side. And her public facade and her private side are identical. So she doesn't change. She's just transparent. And that's why I am. I'm very transparent. Who I am to the public is exactly who I am in private. Um, and and then when I find out about her personality, then I can look at the pictures of her and I can see it through her eyes. And so you can see somebody and read them once you understand their personality. You can read their eyes, and that's why people who've been married together, who've been even your best friends. Is how sometimes you have to look at them, and you already know what's going through their mind. You know, so that's where we are now. In that we've talked for a good amount of time, and I will be the first to admit we need a lot more time to be together. And we really do still need a lot to know about each other. But so far, I'm over the moon as far as infatuated with her.
Yeah. Well,
I adore her.
Let me ask. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Let me
Let's
ask
put
you.
it this way: out of 8 billion people in the world, she's got my attention.
Yeah, that's a high quality right there.
I even asked her, did you two guys sleep?
You stayed awake all night.
Oh, did we sleep? I tell you what, I did not get much sleep one night. Yeah. I think I was um, um, texting, and it was hard to struggle to keep my eyes open. To be honest with you.
Yeah. When you fell asleep, your hands were probably still doing this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you fall asleep and your hands are sitting down there, and then you wake up a little bit. Also, you've got a bunch of N's and O's, or this and that. You're busy erasing because your hands actually sit on the thing, and you C's. You got a bunch of vowels and letters together.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the way my first wife and I were. We were on the phone. This is before texting and the computers, but we just spent hours and hours on the phone. We fall asleep on the phone. Yeah.
Well, this leads me to another question, and you don't have to answer this, so you can go next topic. It's okay. But this is you're a pretty philosophical guy and thinking a lot about a lot of things. And I'm hearing you talk a lot about.
I live my life with purpose. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hear you talk a lot about your still closeness to your ex and kind of like family. So how will that work with a new Filipina? Like if you get in a connection and a relationship, how do you think she's going to react? And are you all going to be like a big happy family, or is it going to change a little? Because I can't see the Filipina wanting to be a happy family with your ex-wife.
We don't like it.
No,
Steve.
she's already
Let the philosophy begin.
Yeah, no, she's already the drama. No, she's already told me that because she's been ever since the word Filipina and me going to the Philippines and people like that bank manager telling her I'm talking to Filipinas, she's just going off the hook, jealous and just really. Now she's doing her own investigation online and what's Philippines like and what are the women like, and she's giving reports to me. Oh, be careful because this problems in Philippines and that problems in the Philippines and this and that. You crazy, you belong here. You're so designy, you're fashiony, and your lifestyle is going to go down. And so, but she told me that say the minute you find somebody and the minute you are that's it. I can't talk to you anymore. So she doesn't want to be talking to somebody if she doesn't want to be talking to me if my attention is to another woman. So in other words, I'm part of the family, uh, and I'm close to her as long as I don't find somebody else. And the minute that somebody else is in my life, she doesn't want to be part of my life. So that's kind of sad. But at the same time, when I find somebody,
It's
you
not a
know,
real friendship there, Stephen.
I know, right, right, right. Well, yeah, right, right.
Just to let you
But
know.
no, well, because my stepson and that we were very close, and now he's got a boy, and you understand. But at the time of my life right now, going to something that I consider even a better relationship, and I'm ready to move on anyway. So I will wish her the best, and because I'll tell her when I'm ready that I found somebody. I'll do that after I go in person, and I want to meet uh, my new friend. And so I want to meet with my new friend, and I told her about my wife and about how we got engaged and how we got married. And so it's kind of similar what we're going to do. And so she's kind of. I said, "How do you feel about that? And would you? How are you thinking about that?" And she's all positive. She actually would enjoy it. I think.
Yeah. So your plan is to come over for a month. Um, Supposedly, all things go well. What are some of your future plans if you want to talk about it?
Yeah, and I've already talked to her about it too, right? Because I'm a serious person, and I still want to make sure our goals are aligned for like after we leave and this and that. So what I would do is, Santa Claus might have some surprises, and for her, and uh, but my goal would be that I would come back to America. I have a couple businesses I'm starting. I'm getting out. I want to retire from the car business, but I have a couple of businesses I'm starting. But my goal would be to go back and forth, have a long distance relationship, but we would have a commitment, right? And where we'd be exclusive to each other. And I'd go back and forth for the first year. And then, well, we would be committed. And then, without going to too much more detail, but we would be life partners. And I gave her all the options that, including marriage. And, but, the key here is whatever builds our relationship stronger and whatever creates a longer lasting relationship is what the goal would be. And, and then I would retire faster and retire in such a way that we would live in the Philippines, let her daughter grow and to a mature age that I gave her the option that we can move to any country and raise her daughter. I said, the Philippines, to be honest, you could probably get a better education for her in another country. And so I gave her that opportunity to, if you're interested, we could. Um, but I know the daughter probably has her friends here and her family, and it's kind of
Yeah,
to be
sure.
uprooted is very traumatic.
Oh yeah, especially
Right.
different cultures.
Right. So I'm very sensitive to that, and I would sacrifice and live in a hot and humid climate.
It's hot.
And
It's humid.
I would I would cook and boil like a lobster.
You will.
For my
You're
future
speaking the
family.
truth finder.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth, right? I
Yeah.
would sacrifice my body. You
Yeah.
know, and but when you're in a point in your life where the most important person is in front of you, and you have to align your goals, then you make sacrifices. So and then, but my goal would be to eventually get, like, say, a little tiny house and a little garden there in the Philippines. And then I did find another country that has interested me. It's in Europe. And I'm not interested in staying in the United States except for coming here and getting my health care. Right now, I have free health care. And one of the things about me is that I'm a cancer survivor. So it's
Oh,
taken two and
wow.
a half years, and now I'm cancer free. But I've
That's
had
great.
the last 6 years, well, actually, since October 2008 was when the recession started for me. And when in September '08, I was king of the world. October, so September is great. October is when the switch hit and the world went into the recession and we were burning money. And I know my money was going up in smoke. And so since October '08, my life's been in a tailspin, right down to I actually got COVID. I had to close my business for 2.5 years, and then I had cancer, and so I've gone through a lot and
Yeah.
survived. And COVID and cancer was after my divorce. Um, so
Yeah.
and so now,
Yeah.
I found God just recently within this last year, and so I've survived all of that without God in my life.
Now
Just
you said you just
yeah,
found God this past year. Like,
right.
what's a
Well, he
detail
was
on
right
that?
next door. My
How did you
pastor.
find God?
Well, he was right next door. He's in my pastor, and his church is my next door neighbor in my office building. And so that's how I met him, right? So I met the pastor's wife first, and she invited me in to come to their gathering, their religious ceremonies on Saturday. I
Oh,
did, and
okay,
then
that's
and
what you were
then yeah.
mentioning. Right.
So when I moved in the building, I met them. They were already here, and that's how I got into a good church and with a great some people I really respect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
Okay.
then ever since, then I see how it's been more. Um, that's changed my life even more. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Do
my
you notice any? If I
yeah.
can ask, and you don't have to
Yeah.
answer any of my questions. You can just shut
Well,
me
you
up.
see, I
But,
don't shy away from anything. So that's truth
but
finders. It's like I've been
do
injected with the truth serum, and I'll answer everything.
well, like, do
Probably
you
too
like
much.
when you're having conversations with your Filipina? Do you have any um, differences of opinion when you're talking about your faith? Like, or do you kind of
Oh
jive right
no.
together when talking
Oh
about your
no.
faith?
We're almost. I mean, we're like from the same cloth. I mean, it's amazing. So we believe she's Catholic and I'm Seventh Day Adventist, um, and but we believe that we respect all religions and we we're tolerant, and we're always basically a positive attitude, and we learn from everybody and share. So we're almost perfectly aligned. So there's no disagreement. I mean, the only thing is she's Catholic and I'm not. And the thing is she was married before. Her ex is actually remarried, and I still haven't found out. She hasn't been quite clear on the status of um, if she's had an annulment or she's been separate. I mean, no, she's been separated, but so we're not. I'm not too clear. She hasn't been quite clear enough for the paperwork. But even though he's remarried, so what she told me that even if I guess for the man, even though he might not have had the annulment, he's gotten married again in the Philippines. I guess that's how it happened. Is that possible? Because I thought you,
I don't know.
if you're
We
married,
can't
how
say.
can you get married if
I
you,
can answer you that in the messenger.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
a private
they
one
pay the
coming to you.
minister, they pay the
Yeah.
minister. Here's $20 and, you know,
Yeah.
And I don't know this situation at all, but if I was to guess, I'm thinking if someone says they're married again, I'm thinking they're thinking like in the physical sense, they started a new family, probably got, so they're considering them married as opposed to maybe
it
a
could be. So
documented
that's
married, but I
the
don't
thing
know. I
is,
really don't know.
the
That's my
thing
guess.
is, yeah, when you say somebody's married again, that means in essence, they could have loosely called themselves married. They've started another family and they moved somewhere else, and it's out of sight, out of mind for the paperwork, because paperwork is actually very hard to get done, annulments, right? So they went out
That's right.
and they found somebody and they said, "Oh, let's get married," and they could have had a ceremony, but maybe not within the Catholic Church,
Yeah, that's
or
kind of what I'm
right,
thinking.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's yeah,
Not in
right,
the Catholic Church anymore.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I told her that I would be willing to do whatever it costs, to get legally an annulment and then get married. And
Yeah. You're a good man, Stephen.
that's when she put the the little emoji, like at any cost, so she was loading up on that.
Yeah, because not all like if the Filipina will receive like that kind of statement, it's really overwhelming to us, and we thought like, are you scamming me? Maybe he's scamming me, maybe he's not
Really?
telling the truth, something like that. Yeah,
Why?
because it's
Such a
not.
big deal.
Yeah, it's really a
Why?
big deal to us.
If you want to get married, don't you want to be legally married?
Because no, because it costs a lot of money,
Yeah,
Steve.
it's a kind of an honoring
Mm-hmm.
humility.
Well, I
They
mean,
can't
a
believe that
lot
you
of
would do
money to
that.
me. Listen,
Something
a
like that.
lot of money to me is a lot of money. A lot of money to somebody else might be not that much money to me. So I've heard that it's probably about 6,000 US dollars, something like. Is that
How much
correct?
is 6,000?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, look it up.
4 to 6 to get enrollment, to get lawyers. That's about 4 to 6 thousand, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that to me is not that big a sacrifice. Of course, that's a big number, um, but if your goal is to have a perfect relationship that's married and legal, so that we can go to a church in the Philippines and we can go to a church in the United States and get married in both countries, get our passports, get our all everything legally done, 6,000 is nothing, because
Yeah, yeah,
the benefits are she can basically, um, if something happens to me, she's entitled to my Social Security. She's entitled to travel back and forth. She can enter into the job market here in the United States, or where. I mean, if we came back in the United States, she'd get, as a senior citizen, she could get her health care. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to spending the money and doing it right. And if you take the shortcut and you don't do it right, you get really no benefits. You're just thinking of the day, today. Oh, let's tell everybody we're married. Meanwhile, you're just living in the moment. But if something happens, they walk away, and they don't have the benefits of marriage. So
yeah. Commitment and
people look at the negative parts of marriage. Oh, she gets half my things, or um, she will feel like she owns me now, and I have to do whatever she says because she gets us over my head. That she wants a divorce or whatever. And the land, if in the Philippines, the possessions are in her name. Let's say. Um, oh, speak of the devil. Um,
the devil showed up. What?
I have
Steve,
to
the
say,
devil wearing Prada.
he's not really the devil, but it's somebody who's got a full bank account.
I
Let's
know.
say.
I
uh,
understand. We're just joking with you.
yeah, I know. I'm joking too. But it's like I said, we stay in constant contact, and she usually likes to call many times until I answer because she thinks I'm up to something, you know. But
Well,
I'm gonna have
we
to
don't
leave
want to
that
take up
message.
all your time, but
No, no, no,
we
no.
do
I'm
appreciate your
fine.
time.
I'm just gonna say I'm busy. But yeah, but my wife's first wife is she will probably not be in our life as I move on. A serious
Yeah.
answer to a serious question,
Well,
and,
I
and
think
you
you
know,
need
and
to
that's
think
fine
about
with
that
me.
word probably.
Oh my goodness! All of a sudden, I got Siri.
Oh yeah.
I know, and I don't
Siri
even
likes
use
to help
Siri.
us.
I don't know what it is. Siri, the phone,
Yeah.
and the Siri saying
Certain
to who,
words.
to who, you know.
Yeah.
It's like my
It's like
ex has got my
Google.
phone tapped, you know.
Yeah. I know. We sometimes try to rely on Google as well over here, and Google gets us in a lot of trouble going down dead end roads, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't like
But no,
Google anymore.
I feel that I can go on with my life, and I'm happy that you know that I might be excluded out of my previous life. I won't know more about my grandson or my son, and that they go on their way and I go my way, and I'm fine with that because you know what I think I'm going on to a better life for me, and you know I'll be busy doing my new lifestyle. So my goal, one of my goals is I want the last one third of my life to be more impactful and to
Yeah.
be more productive than the first two thirds of my life. And the way I can do that is I've already helped one family raise a child and become a family unit, being head of the household. And now I feel like I've got that experience. I can do it again, but I can do it even better. And so that's my goal is to raise another family and do a better job than the first job I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like probably before we sum up, because I don't want to keep you too long. I feel like I've dragged all your time away from you. But
No, no worry, no worries.
like what are some of your questions about coming here? Do you have questions about coming here? Like
Oh
do you
yeah,
have some unanswered
yes,
questions about coming here, or are you pretty well kind of got it all under control, what's going to happen, what you're going to do, and all the, that kind of thing?
yeah.
I know
Um,
I had lots of questions.
yeah, I mean, I have absolutely no idea um, about the finances. I mean, I've seen a lot of the videos. I know what the exchange rate is for the peso of the dollar. I kind of know a little bit that living, you can get someplace to live and rent at a fraction compared to the United States. But food, especially if you want to say healthy food, so I'm into health, so fresh fruits and vegetables. And I don't need steaks or anything, but I would like good quality chicken. I do eat pork, but I'm not into the sugar, the added sugar, or the added fat, or the added um, salt that they put in foods to make them tasty in the Philippines. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for more for a healthy lifestyle that is um, simple. So that's the other thing that really struck me with her is I told her that first of all she was the first one to say she's a very simple person and she leads a very simple lifestyle. I said I'm very simple too, and that's exactly what I want. I want a simple lifestyle. And so that's one of the first ways we connected is just simplicity of character, simplicity of lifestyle, simplicity of wants and needs to be happy. And that's been basically our path. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like you talked about your previous relationship. Has
Mhm.
she talked about her previous relationships as
Yes.
well? So you both on the same page
Just
that way?
just today. Yeah. Just today.
Yeah.
She I didn't ask her about it, but yeah, just today. So she got divorced after 1 year, and not to get too personal with, I don't
No,
mind
no.
sharing I don't mind
Yeah.
sharing my
Just,
personal
yeah.
life because this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
me, and it's different for a woman, right? And so
Yeah,
she
for
doesn't
sure.
necessarily want her life story out there, but she did get divorced 1 year after she was married. So that's pretty quick relationship. And her father helped her get through that. And she is indebted to her father who has passed away. But her father gave her a lot of inspiration and guidance and helped her heal. And
That's great.
and so that's all positive
Yeah.
my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you get a good family over here. You got a really nice family. Like Mahal, she has a really nice family. And it's
Well,
really
that's the other
nice.
thing is she said that Mahal's your Mahal, not my Mahal.
Let's differentiate.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd add that in there. Um, uh, let me see his. It's got to answer this. Um, that your mom is like her second mom, and
Mm,
so she's very close to your mom.
yeah.
And that she told me that your mom and her mom were friends since elementary school. It's a
Yep.
long time.
That's why I told you that personally I just saw her, but my mom knows her and also my sister, because 2 days ago we talked about her and my sister. Whoa, oh, she's a good woman. I was with her in Manila for a few weeks.
Um,
Yeah. So
yeah,
my
I mean,
sister knows
she
her too.
really, I can tell she's really a high value woman, a very good uh, um, woman. Yeah, and to be so strong in a country where obviously you could bend your value system, because you feel sorry for yourself, you feel like the world's not treating you right, but to hold on
Yeah.
to your, to hold on to your values and just be patient and God has a plan. Um, then that's something that really attracts me, you know.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. So in conclusion, I'd say that to me, that's the key for me is like if you got God at the center,
Yeah,
um, that's the stability that's needed in the relationship. Like really strong belief for both
yeah,
of you to connect with God as your center.
right.
I think that's the part that's missing in a lot. Like when I watch these YouTube videos, hardly anybody
Nobody, yeah, right.
mentions God at all.
Well, this is
It's
this
like,
is one thing that we've kind of recognized in that she said that for a relationship where we would have God as our center, right? And I said yes, that works for me 100%. And um, let me just do this real quick. Anyway, so long story short, um, we've been talking about God. We've been talking about God in our relationship. We've been talking about how she's been praying for God for someone to come into her life. And I told her that I felt that with my relationship coach, we brought out what would truly make me happy. And I described exactly who she is, somebody about 38, somebody who has a young child where I could raise a family and where we could be, in a relationship and we could um, be husband and wife, get married, and do everything the right way. Just like what would be in your scripture. And then when it actually happened, then it feels like then I was basically so quick. I mean, she's the first one I've really talked to. I haven't talked to anybody else in the group other than say hello, and just a couple of people said hello, and I just said hi, how are you? But she's the first one I reached out to. So what would normally take 2-3 years and searching thousands of people profiles, I found her and reached out to her, and that's it. So for us, we feel like I was sent by God, or I felt like I was drawn to her by God, and we feel like we're destiny, and we feel like we're in part of God's plan. So that's the key. Is
Yeah, I think so.
what brings us together is it feels like it's right, and this is not being forced, or this is. And getting back to the age gap relationship, there is a 30-year age gap, and but she said age is just a number. And because I asked her, "Are you sensitive to that? What do you think? Or, your family or anybody?" She said, "No, age is just a number." But before I met her, I thought there would be more of an issue. But I see how mature she is, and how we're just. I mean, to be honest with you, we feel like we're the same age. I look in the mirror, I know I'm not. Um, and
You look young to me, Stephen.
I feel 35, right? And
Yeah.
I have the energy, well, because I have employees. Some of my employees are much younger than me, 26, and I have more energy. I have more stamina. Um, more, of course, I have more abilities because I've lived longer. But yeah, a lot of people at any age can't keep up with me. And that's even when I had cancer, fighting cancer, and past cancer. So I guess I just have that. I'm not like more other people where I'd be worn down by now. I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
And that's the key. I think she sees that in me, is that she doesn't see somebody who is weighed down by baggage and problems. She sees more of the bright light, and where I'm more of some, and that we're connected on a more emotional and spiritual level. And that's everything, really, what you want in a life partner, in a husband or wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good line to end up on. It's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I actually even um, said that my preference is that I outlive her, and then I could take care of her if something happens to her. And that's my real preference. I'd rather outlive her. My father
yeah.
passed away at 94, and I take better care of myself than he did. And
Wow.
he was super sharp in that. But when you're older and that, you start eating more cake, and didn't exercise as much. And he was still getting around in that, but he wasn't highly active, right? But he was driving his car.
Wow.
I was doing everything, right? And super, super intelligent for computers, and organized his
Yeah.
life. Um,
Wow.
and he just had a massive heart attack. But he worked the day all day, and then he died at 7:30 at night going to the bathroom. Um,
Wow.
so the key here is I have every ability to live past 100, and healthy and active, and so chances for me is I might outlast her and be healthier just because of my genes, you know.
Yeah.
Because we never and I got cancer at 65, and so perfectly healthy. So anybody can get cancer. Anybody can have an illness or a virus and pass unbeknownst to them at any time in their life. My brother, who's 4 years younger than me, his first wife had ovarian cancer, which she didn't know. But they were at Disney World at a very young age. She's probably in her 30s. And she had like a problem in her leg, like it was a blood clot, right? And she went to the doctor, and why does a 35-year-old have a blood clot in her leg? And they did tests and tests, found out she had stage 4 ovarian cancer. And even though they did the interventions, chemo, and all the operation, she passed away within a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. So
All right.
at any age, something can happen to you.
Yeah. Well, God is good, though. He'll see you through, and He helps you through all the
Yes.
circumstances.
Right.
And I'm
Well,
glad you guys got God the center.
we really hope we're going to have a long-lasting relationship, and then we raise our daughter and travel the world, and
Yeah.
stay in touch with you and
Yeah.
your wife. Become best
Yeah, so
friends. We'll send you
when you
postcards.
guys,
We'll send you postcards.
yeah, those are postcards. Yeah.
The Thomas
So,
family, in Switzerland, Thomas family in China and Japan, and
yeah.
Wish
going
you
to
were
be a great
here. You know,
cook. Well, it's really
brother.
nice to see you. Yeah, she calls you my older brother. I think you look younger. I think he's my younger brother, Mahal.
It's kind of funny. I am the older brother, um, but my younger brothers are starting to look older than me now.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it's funny because because we don't talk to each other that much. We talk to each other by text maybe once every couple of years, and we finally shared photographs of each other. And I said, "Oh, by the way, I have a beard now," because I just grew the beard um, this last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just got tired of shaving, and I thought, I'm getting older. And I says,
Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Maybe StreamYard is only allowing for me. You want to message him? Just ask him if it's on his end or ours. Because I didn't hit
Maybe
remove.
did you?
I don't think I hit anything there.
Uh,
Might be a limit on StreamYard.
I don't think so.
Kick from studio, ban from studio.
somebody's trying to do a FaceTime with me.
Oh, that's what happened. We didn't know what happened. Oh, he's back! Yay!
Yeah.
So you grew your beard in the last year,
See,
and you're more younger than your brothers. Oh, there's FaceTime again. Well, we better let you go, Stephen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we see you again now. But we'll say our goodbyes.
I can't
Someone's
hear you.
trying to get hold of you.
Well, anyway, long story short, I don't know if can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I'll continue. Long story short, we'll eventually get a house in another little country I found, and then a house in Philippines, and we'll go back and forth to the two different places, and then travel to the United States for my healthcare, and then basically have her. We're going to build her stronger, her and her daughter, and build a life for him, and then try to take care of her mom,
yeah,
because
I
they're
think
my
she's
new
blessed.
family.
Blessed to find you, Stephen. You're a good guy.
Yeah.
But I'm actually, I couldn't be happier. And to be honest with you, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it works both ways. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I can't hear you. Somebody has been, FaceTiming me. My microphone's off. So I can't hear you right now.
We'll say goodbye. We'll wave.
Anyway, so I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you for the time, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. God bless you.
We'll
Thanks
talk
for your
later,
stories.
okay?
Really appreciate it. Really interesting.
Bye-bye.
God bless you. Take care, Stephen. Hitting remove, and then I think I had to hit kick from studio right here. Kick guest.
Okay.
So our guest is gone, and we just like to wrap up here. We have had a couple of, I think the highest viewership during our live was maybe 5 or 8. I'm not sure. It didn't get really high, but if you watch this on the replay and you stuck with us to the end, thank you so much. We do have a lot more channels showing different kinds of things. We can probably talk a little about each channel. Like we have the car cam channel. What do we do with the car cam channel? You want to tell?
No, I don't want, because every time
we sit in a car and we talk.
You know what, guys? Every time we promote our channel, YouTube.
We don't want to promote it because every time we promote it goes upside down.
Maybe YouTube say, this is your channel. Like,
we found another of your channels to kill.
From thousands of views, it goes down to 14 views. That's what YouTube did to us.
I'll mention it anyway because we just have fun doing them.
Yeah.
We do have the car cam channel, and that's on beautifulbabylove.com. You can find it there. And we have Filipina and the Foreigner, which is our very first channel we started making when we were in long distance relationship, LDR. And then we have the second channel, which we created because our first one was doing really crappy. Yeah. We call it Filipina Recorded Live. Yeah. So that's 2 channels there, 3 channels complete. And we also have Filipina Random, which is all found on beautifulbabylove.com. And Filipina Random is kind of like a behind the scenes vlog channel, just a
I
little
don't
bit
even
of
know to
anything.
promote our channel.
Then we have a couple of stagnant channels, like we have
Yeah.
Filipina Live, which we're not even putting it on. We're doing a live today. We didn't put it on. We just thought we'd try a live on the Cost of Living channel. We have this channel called the Cost of Living channel.
Yeah.
And then we have a car channel, Living in Our Car channel, which we really haven't done anything with, because that's kind of like, we're kind of thinking that when we get back to
Yeah.
North America, we may go somewhere with that one a little more. So just a couple of videos on that one right now. So anyway, you can check them all out, subscribe to them all. It's at beautifulbabylove.com. Beautiful because I call her beautiful, baby love because she calls me baby love, and we got .com there.
So guys, if you are single, available and ready to mingle, you can join our Facebook group, Connecting Hearts. So yeah,
And that's important
we
because
have so many good Filipina there.
yeah, this whole conversation was
Yes,
based
that's our
on, we didn't even
first.
mention that in this whole live, not
Yeah.
really. But our guest today, Stephen, he actually met the
Yes.
girl that we were talking about today, his Filipina, through our little
Yeah.
Facebook group, which you can find and you can join into if you're even watching this on the end at beautifulbabylove.com. And they click on what? They click on
Connecting Hearts.
They click on Connecting Hearts, right?
And
people she knows, like
yeah,
acquaintances.
and also he even mentioned, like, I'm not expecting that I can see I meet a good Filipina in your small group. You see, our groups there is just less than hundreds of people, but we have first couple there.
Yeah. And this is
Hi Genevieve. That's
Genevieve,
the Filipino of Steve.
It's nice to have you,
Yeah.
Genevieve, in your comment.
Yeah.
It was really nice to talk to Stephen. I think you got a catch there.
Yes.
Stephen seems nice. I like him.
Yeah, I messaged you in the messenger and I put some message on haba ng hair mo, Dai. It's our expression of being so blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're both blessed.
Yeah.
I think you're both. You just got to stick to it and stick through it, and don't get upset with each other.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We try not to get upset with each other, especially the language barrier. That's our advice, because we've been through this now. November.
Yeah.
It'll be a year. Be 2
Second-
years.
yeah,
Be
2
2
years.
years. November 8th for us is 2 years.
Yeah.
10 months of it in LDR, long distance relationship. And I think my advice is just, get past the language barrier and just love each other, and don't give up loving
because
each other.
every day our communication is getting worse.
After 2 years, it gets worse. So cheer up.
Getting worse. But we don't think it in negative ways.
It's not negative, no.
Yeah, so we're just having fun.
It's actually more accepting now. Like, I find we're more accepting of each other, like with the misunderstandings. That's the way it seems to me. Am I right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're more accepting. Like, when we misunderstand each other, we just accept it and move on, kind of thing. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. Okay.
She's not
you're
answering.
late.
Now I get worried.
What did you say?
She don't understand. This is the language barrier. We're talking about it's happening. Anyway, my point, if anybody understood me, I think it's true.
Yeah. No, because I'm reading the comments of Genevieve, and she said that she's already here. And then it's just few minutes ago we kicked Steven out there. You're late.
Yeah. Why didn't you talk when Steven was here?
Yeah.
Was this part 2?
Yeah. You just need to watch the whole video so you can see your how you call
beloved.
Yeah,
Beloved.
your
beloved.
baby there.
Yeah, Steven seems like a really nice guy, Genevieve. So I think two of you just need to always be friendly and overlook any language barrier thing. I think you guys would be solid, because I think Steven has his heart in the right place. And I think, I don't know you, but it seemed like you might be that way too.
And also, before we invite him through this YouTube live, I even told him that I think your brother from another mother.
It actually does kind of look like my brother.
But
the look too, he looks a little bit like my brother, actually.
Yeah.
My brother has a beard like that too.
That's
So.
why I said, "Oh, you're so blessed. You're both blessed." Yeah. So.
I'm blessed. And you?
So I think we need to wrap up this one.
Yeah, it's
It's
only been 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
So I'd like to know if anyone else online watched the
Mhm.
replay and watched all of it. If you
Mhm.
did, comment below because I'm really curious. Do people watch like a long
Yes.
replay of 2 hours? If you do, please put it in the comments. Yes, I've watched the whole video for 2
Yeah.
hours. And then put in the comments how many times you fell asleep. Or if you stayed wide awake, like, wow, this is so cool. Anyway, I just like to, out of curiosity, know. So put it in the comments if you actually watched this long, the whole video. We would appreciate it. And go visit our site.
Yeah, the beautifulbibylove.com.
Yeah, and this is my exciting comment that I like. It's from Filipina right at the beginning. She said, I love you, baby love. I love you too. Mahal. Beautiful.
Okay, so guys, God bless everyone.
God bless you.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. And check out all our videos. We appreciate it.